YouTube. We're gonna have some real talk this morning.
Make the ground shake.
So, and this chair is awfully low. All right, whatever. It's a low chair. So, first off, we're gonna talk about a couple things. And a couple of things that we're going to discuss all have to do with being a new officer, right? That's a pretty cool background, huh? Yeah, I haven't changed it to anything else. So let's rewind a little bit. You're new to the Air Force, you're new to the Army, the Navy, so forth. You're coming in as a brand new 01. Now, whether that is an ensign in the Navy, okay, I'm not even gonna go into the other branches. Basically, you're an 01. I'm gonna talk about the Air Force because that's what I am in. So you're brand new, second lieutenant, and you've got those bars on your shoulder and you're feeling good. You know that you outrank, 80% of the military? Feels good, right? But there are certain things that you want to keep in mind, and these are things that I have learned just in the 2 years that I've been in the Air Force. And they're key, and I want to tell you those things so that you can avoid a lot of mistakes, avoid things that might be detrimental to your relationships, your work environment, etc. Number one, as a new officer, my first tip would be to trust your people. Trust the people that you work with. Trust your enlisted folks. Trust that they know more than you do, especially your enlisted that have been in for, you know, more than a couple years. Maybe your master sergeants, your senior master sergeants, your senior NCOs are going to know, like, your knowledge, you're not going to catch up to them anytime soon. They are the subject matter experts. Your enlisted are your subject matter experts, or as you would call them, SMEs for short. So it's important to not go in with the attitude thinking that, hey, I'm an officer and I know how everything works. I know this and I know that. No. Odds are, and what's usually the case, is that your enlisted are going to see right through that. They know that you don't know anything. So to go in and try to have an attitude saying, you know, I know what's up, it's not gonna, it's gonna give a bad impression for one, and you're not gonna have very much respect. Two, which kind of falls in line with number one, take care of your people. And if I were to elaborate on that, I would say take care of your people in that you want to talk to them as people, you want to be understanding to them as people, whether it's officers or whether it's enlisted that work in your section or work in your flight or that work directly for you. Treat them like people. Now, I don't mean give everyone day passes for, you know, this day or that day and try to be friends with everyone. No, I mean treat them like people and put yourself in their shoes, right? If one of your enlisted is sick, right, you have the ability to give a pass for that day if you're their direct supervisor. So look into the AFI, look into and talk to your leadership and really find out what you can do for your people. There's nothing wrong with trying to do as much as you can for the people that work for you, and they're going to appreciate that. Anything that can help them do their jobs better, they're going to appreciate, and in the process you're gonna earn a little bit more respect. Number three, and you'll find that a lot of these have to do with the people that you work with, the relationship between people that work for you and, like I said, people that you work directly with. Number three, spend time with your squadron. Spend time with your flight, whatever it may be that you're in. Even if you have a small flight or even if you work with civilians, so forth, the team that you work with, you need to foster that relationship, and that means spending time with them. And I'll give you an example. One thing that I try to do, my last job, was with a very large flight. It was an operations flight, and there are tons of people in that flight. I think it was like at least 100 and something. And there's different shops underneath. And one of the things we can get comfortable with as an officer is staying behind our desks and not getting out. And I encourage you all to get out there, to get your hands dirty, get involved with the people that work for you, see the jobs, get out there firsthand and experience that. Work alongside them, right? If you have a job where you can go out and you can spend time with your enlisted and work with them and say, hey, what can I do to help? You know, that is going to gain the most amount of respect very quickly, because they're going to see that and they're going to say, hey, here's an officer who isn't a lazy butt and actually cares about us and the work that we do. And then second, that gives you an understanding of what your enlisted go through every day. You know, being in civil engineering, our enlisted work very hard, and it's important as an officer to understand that, because if the case arises where there's something that I can do or I have the ability to change and change something and make their job easier, like say, I don't know, put up an overhang or a tent that gives them shade while they're working, that's going to help them, right? And the only way I'm going to know that is if I've been out there working with them and been in the heat, sweating, and familiar with that job. So, you know, you'll often see that some of the best squadron commanders and some of the best officers are the ones that are working right alongside the enlisted people. Tip number 4, do the best job that you can do in the job that you're in. Sometimes as an officer, especially as a new lieutenant, we're put into jobs that aren't really the jobs that we would prefer, whether it's, say, a staff job, or whether, you know, it's a job that you weren't expecting to do. Maybe you're put in a section that you weren't planning on being in. Doesn't matter. We're in the Air Force or whatever branch you're in, and you're expected to do the best that you can in the job that you're in. And there's nothing worse than having a bad attitude if you're in one of those jobs. People are going to see it, it's going to spread, it's going to lower morale, and as an officer, you're expected to lead in all aspects, right? You're expected to lead in the attitude that you have, you're expected to lead in your work ethic, you're expected to lead just pretty much in everything. You're always on parade. People are always going to be looking at you, and believe me, they're looking at you. You know, I mean, there's things they're going to pick up on or notice about you that you don't even realize yourself. You'll be like, oh wow, you know. And it's happened to me a couple of times where someone will say, hey, yeah, I noticed, you know, you do this or you tend to do that, like whenever you get a job, and they're just real subtle things that I never realized that I did. So I'd say that's a big one. And what am I on? Am I on number 5? Yeah, number 5. Now I'm kind of like just coming up with stuff on the fly. Yeah, here we go. Number 5. As a new officer, and this goes to the subject of your boss, right? Number 5. Make your boss's job as simple and as easy as you can. And I don't mean you don't want to be a kiss butt, but think of ways to help your supervisor. Think of ways to make his or her job easier for them, right? And I mean, and what I mean by that is, I mean, try to be efficient. So if there's things that you don't need to bother your boss with, don't bother him with it. If you can find the answer on your own, find the answer. And I say that because, you know, that takes away from their time of things that they're trying to do. Obviously, if you need something, like go to your supervisor and ask them to help you, or ask someone alongside of you, a fellow officer. That's something that I've been learning to do, is to tap into the resources laterally, right? Tap into, you know, other people, other lieutenants, and you know, try to figure out what to do using the help of friends and using all the resources that you have. So those are probably, just off the cuff, those are 5 things. As lieutenants, we're not going to know everything. As new officers, we're not going to have the experience that our senior enlisted are going to have, or even just our enlisted period. We're not called to have all of the experience in, you know, the smaller, not smaller, the jobs, the various jobs throughout the Air Force. I can't even talk today. But we are expected to gain more of a broad experience, right? The enlisted usually go really deep in their experience, and they may, you know, like for example, if you're a craftsman in an electrical shop, you're going to spend all that time getting better, getting more efficient, and knowing your job and being the expert at your job. As an officer, we have to know a little bit about all the jobs like throughout the whole squadron, right? But we're not going to go as deep. We just need to know kind of the top surface. So keep that perspective, and that's why I say to trust the people that work for you, trust the enlisted, and try to help them out. So, and yeah, so that's basically all I got for that. I'm gonna leave you with just some clips of this 4th of July week, some fun that I had, and that should carry us out. So take it easy, have a good one, and do the best you can.
Beautiful, our heroes proved in liberating strife. Who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, make God thy gold refined, till all success be nobleness, and every gain divine. And you know, when I was in school, we used to sing it something like this. Listen here. Oh, beautiful, far spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties, above the fruited plain. But now wait a minute, I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God done shed his grace on thee.